Hello there, Yojimai here. Thank you for clicking on this video. So today we're going to talk about topics that you probably already heard from your favorite YouTubers. But if you want to hear the opinion of a 20-year-old something Eastern European girl, then stick around. So in today's video we're going to talk about Star Wars. Obviously, as you can see by the title, we're going to talk about the sequels being retconned and the interview that Jon Favreau recently gave that sparked a lot of controversy. But we are also going to talk about the theories that are going around. How exactly are the sequels going to be retconned? And also we're going to talk about, are we ever going to see Han, Leia and Luke together again? Or at least are we going to see younger versions of them? Before doing anything, I really want to make one thing clear, and that is the meaning of the word retcon. So whenever I hear someone speaking about retconning the sequels, I always think, oh, so retcon means deleting the sequels, right? Well, no. Retcon, according to Google, means to revise an aspect of a fictional work retrospectively, typically by introducing a piece of new information that imposes a different interpretation on previously described events. So no, it's not deleting the sequels, it is kind of changing them. But that doesn't mean that something will get deleted, that Ray will get deleted. No, if they retcon the sequels, it will mean that they will add some new information, so things change a bit, but that doesn't mean that they will get deleted. So let's start with the interview that Jon Favreau recently gave. When I read through the whole interview, he very often mentions about following George Lucas's steps. He mentions George Lucas and his stories in the archetypes that he created, and obviously following the hero's journey. You can totally feel how much he respects George Lucas, and he often mentions how inspired he is by him. So for people to say that everything Jon Favreau is doing right now is leading exactly to the sequels, it's not really realistic on one hand, because if he is following George Lucas's steps, then that means that he is not a fan of the sequels, because we all know that George Lucas is not happy with the sequels. So one thing he said that made me very happy, and that is another proof that he is following the true steps of George Lucas, not like some pretenders like Caitlin Kennedy. He says that he loves working with Dave Filoni because he had studied under George for I think a decade working on the animated show, so I felt like I had a direct connection to the source code of this whole world with him. So I mean, if that's not telling enough, I don't know what is. And of course, the biggest thing is that the interviewer asked him, was Luke Skywalker planned from the beginning? And Jon Favreau said, no, but he came to be as the story evolved. And I don't really think that Luke Skywalker's cameo was just that, a cameo. I really think that by putting Luke Skywalker in there, Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni and the others have bigger plans for him. I don't think that Luke Skywalker taking Grogu and giving him such an important role in the whole Mandalorian universe is just that, just appearing for a second and then never seeing him again. And I think the most controversial quote is that when the interviewer asked him, are you concerned having placed the story right in the midst of the saga with the latest films having revealed Skywalker's future that you're all penned in narratively? And he says, oh, we have a tremendous amount of freedom afforded to us because of the gap in time between the films. Dave Filoni and I are in constant discussion regarding how each story choice is impacted by and what impact existing Star Wars material. Obviously, he does say that they think how The Mandalorian will impact the sequels. That is true. But the fact that they put Luke Skywalker in there as this very powerful Jedi taking Grogu, his first student right now, it is a big deal, and it's not just a little thing that we can ignore. Jon Favreau, by saying that they have tremendous freedom between the two movies, it is a big deal because there are 30 years between 6 and 7. And yes, they can basically maybe create stories to fix Luke Skywalker and Han Solo and even Captain Akbar. Which brings me to point number 2. Let's talk about the theories on how the sequels can be retconned or changed. So back in Rebels, when Ezra saved Ahsoka, he created two timelines. The one timeline where Ahsoka is dead and the one timeline where Ahsoka lives. When he saved her, he basically created a different universe with Ahsoka, with different things happening in that universe, because her being alive impacts a lot of situations and events. If you remember back in The Rise of Skywalker, we were all very surprised when we heard Ahsoka Tano's voice talking to Rey, which meant that she is dead. But we know that now in The Mandalorian, Ahsoka is alive and well. And yes, this is 30 years prior, but I think Disney and Lucasfilm have a lot of ideas for Ahsoka. I don't think that now that they introduced live action Ahsoka, they will kill her off anytime soon. She is a fan favorite, she's a moneymaker. So the fact that she's allegedly dead in The Rise of Skywalker is a bit questionable. So in the new timeline where Ahsoka lives, she goes obviously to meet Grogu and then sends Grogu to the temple where Grogu manages to connect with Luke Skywalker. So afterwards we saw that Luke Skywalker saved Grogu from being the donor for Snoke. But if Ahsoka was dead, she would have never met Grogu and she would have never sent him to the temple, so Grogu would have never been saved by Luke Skywalker. Thus, Grogu would have given his blood for the creation of Snoke. But now we know that this is not really the truth. He's safe and sound with Luke Skywalker. I think theory about World Between Worlds is very interesting, and I know many people are not a fan because this is creating a multiverse like the one in Marvel. But I think this would be a good option when it comes to the sequels, because the people who like the sequels are still going to have the sequels, and for the rest of us who don't really like the sequels, we'll have a whole different timeline where everything is okay, if I can say that. The next theory that I just recently heard is that Luke Skywalker wasn't even in the sequels, that he was just a projection. He wasn't on the island with Rey, he was just a projection. He was actually somewhere else protecting his students, his Padawans from the First Order, and also protecting probably Baby Yoda or Grogu. This is a very interesting theory, and why not? This means that nothing changes. We still have Finn and Rey and Poe and BB-8, and that's totally okay with me. I don't want the sequels deleted, but I will never forgive The Force Awakens what it did to Han Solo, because Han Solo was my favorite character and still is. So this is a very interesting theory, and who knows, maybe because it doesn't impact really what happened in the sequels. So the third theory is actually inspired by this video and by many other videos of Drunk 3PO, because he constantly goes to Galaxy Edge and he sees how Star Wars is changing right before his eyes. He mentions very often that the souvenir shop is full of Baby Yoda, not of Rey and Finn and Poe. Everybody wants to see Ahsoka Tano, everybody wants to see Boba Fett, the Mandalorian, and of course Grogu. Nobody is asking where is Rey, which is again very telling. If your customers are looking for these characters, then, and if you are changing Galaxy Edge according to the new characters and not the characters from the sequels, then this is another proof that even Disney themselves are retconning the sequels. Another thing inspired by this video again is that there is no demand for Rey and Finn and the other sequel characters. The fact that recently Hasbro came up with all new Star Wars toys. We had Darth Maul, we had Qui-Gon, we had Ahsoka, we had even Jar Jar Binks, but we had no sequel characters. This is again, I mean, if the toys are all from the originals and the prequels and no sequels, then this is again sort of a retconning, right? Changing the direction for Star Wars, far from the sequels. I really like the three theories. I love the Ahsoka Tano War Between Worlds, and if you remember, the title card for the Ahsoka show is Ahsoka with the World Between Worlds man behind her. So who knows? Maybe. But I want the sequels to be respected because people do like Finn and Rey and Poe. I think all the characters had a lot of potential in them, and I know that Jon Favreau came out and said that Disney, Star Wars, they didn't know what to do with his character, but I think that they didn't know what to do with any character. I think that all characters were totally messed up and all of them are full of potential. And the last topic I want to talk about is, are we ever going to see young Leia, Han, and Luke, and even Chewbacca, obviously Chewbacca, again? So when I watched this video by Echo Base Network, they said they can put young Han in Boba Fett show or Lando show. I mean, it is logical, right? It's not fan service because Han and Lando and Chewbacca, they're literally best friends. And obviously Boba Fett and Luke and Han, they have a lot of history together. It would make for a very good story if we see these characters engaging again. And obviously you might put Leia in Rangers of the New Republic because she is a senator right now. She's trying to rebuild the Republic. And Rangers of the New Republic probably will show the New Republic. So it would make sense to have Leia, Senator Organa, and Captain Akbar in it. And obviously Luke Skywalker maybe gets his own show and then we can see them together again. So I know that Harrison Ford will never come back for anything Star Wars again because he's just done with it. And obviously Carrie Fisher passed away and Mark Hamill is still here. He would do anything, but they're all old. But we can recast them with young actors. We have the guy from Solo who did a great job portraying Han Solo in my opinion. With the right script, he would be amazing. And obviously you have Sebastian Stan, who is a fan favorite to play Luke Skywalker. And I think the daughter of Carrie Fisher, Billie Lourd, will be amazing as her mother. So there are many actors out there who you can cast as the new Han, Luke, and Leia. And I think that fans won't have anything against that as long as you do a good job. So all in all, I do think that the retcon is already kind of happening with the toys and with the direction that Star Wars is heading to. I think that there are many great things in store for us, at least I hope so. And I am a fan of the theories, the war between worlds or Luke being just a projection. I think it's very interesting and can really go in many directions. So guys, thank you very much for watching this video. Let me know down below, let's talk about it. Do you think that the sequels will get retconned or changed? Or are they just going to push them aside and just ignore them and maybe have a mention here or there? Or do you think that they will completely erase them from existence? And we will be excited if we ever see young Luke, Han, and Leia again. And in general, are you excited for the future of Star Wars? I am. I think there are great things coming, and I hope and I pray. So again, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know down below how do you feel about these topics. See you in the next video, and may the force be with you.